Yes.
Hi everyone, this is Didi.
And I am Fred. And this is our 36-foot floating home sunshine.
Join us as we go sailing.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Tuesday, the 27th of December, 2022. And we're finally on our way. Checked out of Johor, Bahru with the port officials. Once again, gotta love the Malaysian bureaucracy. Very smooth, efficient, quite easy. Except we had to wait for somebody to show up in the office for about an hour this morning. I wanted really to get off early today, but when we got in yesterday afternoon and discovered, I'm still not sure whether or not we can go in where the immigration and the ferry boats from Singapore go in. Looks like they have a couple of slips there. But anyway, we anchored off, put the dinghy in the water, and discovered a problem with the mainsail. So I decided, wow, we had good daylight, I'd get that fixed yesterday afternoon. Because by the time we got the anchor down, it was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and by the time we would have got the dinghy put together and got over to shore, the office, I don't know. Well, immigration supposedly stays open all the time, but the other people might have left. Most important was port people. So I decided, to heck with it, to stay on the boat, get the mainsail fixed, and relax a bit, have an evening meal, and get up and do it in the morning, which is what we did. The only thing is, I didn't really get the anchor up and underway until almost 1 o'clock this afternoon, which really delayed the departure by quite a few hours. And what I'm thinking is that I'll go to the western entrance of the channel that separates Malaysia and Singapore and maybe anchor there for the night, rather than try to get out around the end of the Malaysian peninsula and then have to turn up north, because the wind, you can see, it's a pretty good breeze blowing, 15 knots anyway, and it's out of the north, which means it's going to be right on the nose. And hopefully if we get up and get underway pretty early in the morning, the breeze will lay down somewhat during the night. Because that next, from the western entrance to that channel, out to the end and up north is a good 30 plus miles. And the last time I went that way, it was a real struggle because the wind was blowing pretty strong, right on the nose. And I only had a 2-bladed prop on at the time. Probably hand steered for about 12 straight hours. The boat making only about a knot and a half into that headwind. And the seas, of course, that came along with it, short, choppy seas. And having to make sure that I didn't get too close to any ships or anything. So it's quite hazy out here today. Probably can only barely see the island of Singapore, some of the high-rise buildings there. All these ships sitting out here Some of them loaded, some of them unloaded. This immediate vicinity here is where they pick up pilots. Anyway, that's it for now. Hi, sweetie.
Bye.
And strangely enough now, we're getting, or at least we were getting, really excellent reception and data transfer rates over there by the immigration station. But now we don't get that because we're off the coast of Singapore and we have Malaysian SIM cards. So we are internet-less right now. Bye for now. One of our friendly neighbors on this passage, we're right on the edge of the Singapore Straits, the north edge. That's a fairly sizable tanker. And of course, over in the Straits themselves, there's a big one. He just passed us a while back. And there's a whole bunch of them back behind us, all heading this way. Busy, busy place, the Singapore Straits. Well, here we are. It's Tuesday afternoon. Sundown is approaching. We're in a particularly contentious area of the Singapore Straits. There's a tremendous amount of turbulence. It's a very narrow area between the Indonesian islands to the south and Singaporean islands to the north. The channel here is only a few miles wide, and the tidal currents are battling it out. Plus, we've got a squall, so we've got somewhat reduced visibility. It's a little clearer now, but pretty heavy haze out there and rainfall. Not very heavy rain, fortunately.
It's one way, selfie. Didn't turn the camera.
You can see behind me.
Wow.
So, yeah. That's what we're looking at. Low clouds. A few minutes ago, the visibility was down to about maybe a kilometer because of the rain. Out in front of us, it's still pretty hazy, but the visibility has increased now quite a bit. Between me and Dee Dee, we've been shifting off and on, sailing, steering the boat, trying to keep it on a good course coming through here because the tidal currents are very conflicted here, and they'll grab the bow and push it off to port one time, and then grab the bow and push it off to starboard another time. The swell and the wind has remained more or less behind us, kind of way out on the starboard quarter. But you can see the sea state. It's not that the seas are big, but they're very lumpy because of the conflicting currents, tidal currents coming in here. You can tell by looking at the waves, they stand up and just collapse back in on themselves. Unfortunately, we seem to be going about the same speed as the change in the current. If it would go a little faster, we'd have the current behind us, which would help improve our speed substantially. It hasn't been too bad, but definitely more than a little annoying. I'm just glad we're still in daylight. Hopefully, we'll get up here somewhere before midnight on the Western Channel that goes around the island of Singapore. And we can tuck up in there and anchor for the night. Because I don't want to have to deal with a strong north wind in a very restricted channel, trying to get through it with all this shipping out there. Not during nighttime. Thank you very much. So, an exciting first day on the rest of our passage up, well, through the Singapore Straits and then up through the Malacca Straits, heading north along the west coast of Malaysia. Bye, sweetie. She's concentrating. And I don't blame her. It's not easy to steer. Bye for now.